with the help of her 5 sons, who wants to ask questions about it, wants to let their husbands know. Bingley. They attacked him in many ways, naked questions, imaginative thoughts, and so on, but they all lacked energy, and finally told what they had done to their friends, Lady Lucas. His report is optimistic. Sir William's enjoyed it. He was always young, handsome, independent, and won the whole title, which meant his next big team meeting. Nothing special. Love Dance is a step towards love, with good hope from the heart of Bingley Shri. When I see one of my daughters living well in the Netherlands, Bennet told her husband, she says I don't like everyone who's married. A few years later, Bingley visited Bennet, who was in his library for 10 minutes. He rejoiced in the hope and beauty of the girls only his father saw. The women were very energetic because they could see from the high window that they were wearing blue and riding a black horse. An invitation was sent immediately for lunch, and Mrs. Bennet planned housing projects and postponed everything when the answer came. Mudani. The next day, the city of Bingley neglected their request, and so on. Now, Bennet. Shortly after arriving in Hertfordshire, he had no idea what his business was in the city. He continued to run from place to place for fear he would not go to Netfield the way he wanted. Mrs. Lucas calmed their fears and began to think of going to London to deliver the ball in a good night's sleep. It was later reported that Bingley chaired a meeting of 12 women and 7 officers. Many women hate girls, but the day before he left the group, he heard that he had brought 6, 5 siblings and a cousin from London instead of 12. When I came to the auditorium in the afternoon, it was 5 o'clock. Bingley, his 2 daughters, eldest son and second brother. Good father, Bingley, good man, good and good. Her sisters are the best women in making decisions. Her daughter-in-law, Hurst, looked only to the Lord. But his colleague, Mr. Darcy, continues to attract attention to the tall, beautiful room. Legs and voices used only 5 minutes from his entry, tens of thousands a year. Officials said he was a better man than the men, and the women said he was better than Mr. Bingley, and greeted everyone at night, until he found it wrong. Its popularity, for there is pride in me, taller and happier than their peers, and all his wealth in Derbyshire could not save him from many narwhals, in the worst, and in comparison with his counterpart. Mr. Bingley quickly notes all the adults there. He was still alive, strong and defenceless, played every game, was angry that the ball closed so fast, and talked about giving up on Netherfield. The home you are looking for is important to your personal taste. What a difference there is between them and their friends. Mr. Darcy, Mr. Hurst, and Mrs. Bingley refused to appear to the women, and spent the night talking about the house, and often talking to her. His profile was selected. He is a proud and acceptable person in the whole world, and everyone hopes he will never get there. Mrs. Bennet was one of the perpetrators, who did not demand to disturb her entire character by destroying one of her daughters. Elizabeth Bennet must have stopped dancing because of the owner's incompetence. The Lord stood still for a while. Darcy overhears the conversation with Mr. Bingley, who dances for a few minutes and encourages friends to meet. "Come on, Darcy, I want to dance with you. I do not want to see you standing alone on a small street. You're beautiful, dance." "Only then did we know. You knew I hated my husband when I did not know him. There was no support in those meetings. Your sister is a bride, and she's not. A foreign woman in the room will be punished for standing with me." "Mister, I'm not as excited as you," Bingley said. "To the government! Honour me! I have never seen a girl as beautiful as tonight. Most of them are different from you." "You you dance with a beautiful girl in the living room?" Mr. said Darcy looks at Miss Bennet's eldest daughter. "Oh, this is the best animal I've ever seen. But there's only one sister behind me. She's so beautiful. I say, I'm laughing. Let me ask you a question. Talk to your friends." "What does that mean?" He turned and looked at Elizabeth for a moment, until he opened his eyes and said calmly, "He's patient, but he does not want to look at me. He is not. I'm laughing now. Give benefits to girls who are being abused by other men, because it will take your time." Bingley followed their advice. Dad walked away. Elizabeth did not answer. However, he sent a message of interest among his friends. He was a good man and could rarely hurt anyone. The night was a joy for the whole family. Mrs. Bennet and their eldest daughter Netherfield were amazed at their party. "There are 2 Latti dances," Bingley added. Jane was as sweet as her mother, though calm. Elizabeth felt Jane happy. Mary hears that Miss Bingley is said to be the most talented woman in the area. Luckily for Catherine and Lydia, they could not have been without a leader, but did not know how to control the ball. When he returned to his village in Longbourn, where he lived, he still has Mr. Bennet. The book did not last long. For the ceremony, he was interested in the evening, which evoked the most hope. He thought he was ashamed of the appearance of his wife to the guest, but he soon realised that there were many consultants. "Oh, dear Bennet," he said as he entered the room. "I wish you were there. Congratulations, Jane, nothing can be done. She was beautiful, and Billy thought of her beauty and danced with her. Think of it, darling, she actually danced with him. He was the only animal in the room. When asked again, he said to Lucas, 'I saw him, but he could not win.' Nothing happened, you know, but it was as if he had beaten Jane while go to the dance. So he asked who I was and put me in the house. She asked about her body and 2/3 of the dance. The Miss 4th Mary Luke and the 5th Lizzie and Jane Guspulanga. If he had taken pity on me, he muttered, the player doesn't dance. For God's sake, let the players not talk. He would have cut off his legs in the first game. Ah, honey, I love it so much. Very good. And his sisters are beautiful women. I had never seen anything so beautiful in their shirts. I'm afraid to mention Mother's oppressive belt. I'm sorry. It breaks, too. Gentlemen. Bennetum contradicts any exaggerated mention. That's why he found another point in the story, and it happened because of the pain and a little exaggeration of the spirit, which angered Mr. Darcy. But I assure you, she added, Lizzie does not lose much without changing her desires, because she is a bad, dangerous person. She did not go to school. Above all the proud, they had no patience with him. He was there, and he was there to enjoy it. It's not enough to play. I wish I could. If you give her something, my dear, you are there, and I really hate her. Until next week. A few years later. It's fine.
Well, can I have the hat on? You ride the horse.
If it makes you happy. When I came to the auditorium in the afternoon, it was 5 o'clock. Bingley, his 2 daughters, eldest son, and second brother. God, Bingley's been a busy boy. 23 and he's already got at least 4 children. Still one's in the family. He's got 5 siblings. So he's a good father, apparently, that's alright. his library for 10 minutes.
Oh, I need a book.
You need books.
Yeah,
You got a book? Come on, just one second.
Of course they've got books.
there's plenty of books here.
Yeah, give me a book.
Yes. I don't know, there's a book. Read a book on sociolinguistics.
It should have been a hardback, but never mind.
Yes, but I can't see any hardback ones here.
No, that's it. Right, it doesn't matter.
There's a book on Jane Austen, actually.
A
which is
book's a
quite
book. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
that's
quite a funny one. Yeah.
But doesn't matter.
No.
Because you won't even read the title, would you? Right, just say that bit again.
Right. But his colleague, Mr. Darcy, continues to attract attention to the tall... I'm sorry. Right. Mr. Bingley, although in this apparently he's called Mr. I'm not as excited as you, Bingley,
Right.
says, to the government, honour me. And all his wealth in Derbyshire could not save him from many narwhals, in the worst, and in comparison with his counterpart. The outtakes of this video is just going to be me giggling the entire time. Now we get back to the football. There's a lot of football involved. It's a very miniature football, but you know. Mrs. Bennet was one of the perpetrators, who did not demand to disturb her entire character by destroying... and cut. Elizabeth Bennet must have stopped dancing because of the owner's incompetence. The Lord stood... I will get this line. Now we learn way too much information about Darcy. I don't think Jane Austen would approve. Come on, Darcy, I want to dance with you. I do not want to see you standing alone on a small street. Your beautiful dance. Only then did we know. You knew I hated my husband. A foreign woman in the room will be punished for